Hey friends, we have a book haul. I don't know if you see that big stack of books over there, but I've been buying too many books lately. So I'm gonna say, I don't know if you should believe me when I say this, but I'm not gonna buy any more books in 2025. Do you believe that? I don't know if I even believe that, but let's go through all these books. First book we have is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, okay? And of course, I had to get the OG Penguin Classics cover. Very much thought daughter, very much giving pretentious. No, I don't want to say pretentious, but I always feel like people that read classics and have all the Penguin classics, they're just so much smarter than I. But methinks I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm excited to read Frankenstein because they have a new movie coming out. I'm actually gonna start this today. I've never actually read the book, but of course, we all kind of know the story of Frankenstein, and I'm really looking forward to it. She wrote this book when she was 18. 18 years old, and you wrote a classic. Shout out to Mary Shelley. Next book we have is Honey and Spice by Bolu Babalola. And I should have been read this book. This book was a Reese's Book Club book and a very popular book talk book. And I haven't read it yet, and I'm ashamed to say. But what has really made me want to read this is this, okay? Sweet Heat by Bolu Babalola, because everyone and their mother is rating this 5 stars. I seen a mutual on TikTok say this is the best romance book of all time. I was like, all time? She was like, girl, all time. I couldn't believe it. So I gotta see for myself, but we're gonna go in order. We're gonna read Honey and Spice, then Sweet Heat. So I assume since these are the same characters, they're together in Honey and Spice, and then I guess for some reason they break up, and then in Sweet Heat it's a second chance romance, they get back together. Now, where Honey and Spice I think may read a little younger, I don't know if it's young adult or not. I hear Sweet Heat is for the grown and sexy. Okay, so I'm excited about that. Next we have Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I loved Bride. Bride was so good. Bride followed a werewolf and a vampire. This is giving just straight werewolf loving, and I'm very much excited for it. I don't want to tell you too much because this book follows a hybrid and a full werewolf. So a hybrid being in this book half werewolf, half human, and then a werewolf. And I really enjoyed Bride, so I know I'm just gonna eat this up. I low-key want to start this ASAP too. The next book we have is The Illusion of Power by J.L. Seegers. I have only ever read Restore Me by J.L. Seegers, but I hear that this is really good. This is a whole new series, and I want to say it has something to do with like politics and security guards and why choose, and I don't really know too much. The back says there was forbidden affection, there was career ruining attraction, there was the soft pull of distraction, and in our line of work, distraction gets you killed. Yeah, I don't know, but I hear that it's really good, and some of the spice is very surprising and satisfying. I don't know, I'm interested. The next book we have is Lost Souls Meet Under a Full Moon by Mizuki Sugimura. And I got this book from Barnes a couple weeks ago, and literally the synopsis just sounded so good to me. It has to do with kind of like a medium who basically like, I guess, coordinates meetings with someone who's passed away with, you know, someone in the living, and I guess the dead can refuse that meeting, and it's just a different series of people who are trying to reconnect with someone who has passed. And based on the synopsis, it was like a lot of different people in different circumstances who was trying to connect with someone of the undead. And it just sounded really interesting. And it's a pretty short book. This is translated work as well. And so I'm very excited to get into it. The next book we have is The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. I'm also ashamed to say I haven't read a Toni Morrison book. I have The Bluest Eye as well as Sula. So I have 2 Toni Morrison books now. And I know that these books are going to be gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, insightful. I'm expecting a lot out of them because I know she's just such a well-regarded author and a classic author in her own right, and a winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. So period. The next book that we have is Cujo by Stephen King. I got this literally the other day on sale in the bargain section for $6 at Books A Million. I have never in my life read a Stephen King book, but I feel as though I must, because one, I don't really read any horror. The most horror I get is thrillers, is some vampires, some werewolves, a little bit of paranormal, but I have never read like a full-on horror. So I'm really excited to get more into that with a couple of these reads that I've gotten recently. But Cujo, I think, was a sweet dog before, and he goes somewhere and comes back out possessed. And I don't know. It just seemed interesting, and it was on sale for $6. So I said, you know what? This is going to be my first Stephen King read. Please comment down below if you've read Stephen King books. What is your favorite one? Because I think in my mind, before I seen this one on sale, I thought my first one would be Misery, because that always seemed like an interesting story to read, and I know the movie is iconic as well, and I thought that would be the first one I would read. But I seen this on sale. I had to get it, and I like how the cover looks pretty vintage and cool. The next book we have is Octavia Butler's Kindred, and I love the new cover that they've came out with. It's so colorful and beautiful, and there is a new foreword by Janelle Monáe in this edition. I'm very excited. I think, look, from what I recall, this book follows a woman who somehow her spirit returns back to like slavery times, and I mean, who wants to go back there? We don't no. But I hear it's a very interesting book, and I think it was also turned into a show, but I haven't seen it. But I know that I need to get into Octavia Butler's work. This Parable of the Sower, she has so many books that I see people talk about, and I think she has one that is like vampires as well, called The Fledgling, I want to say. I don't know, but I really just want to keep expanding my horizon when it comes to literature, reading, and just not really keep myself in like a romance or fantasy type of box. I just want to read great books at the end of the day. The next book we have is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Again, I've only ever read Bride. I plan on reading Mate, but this was like one of probably her biggest book, and I've never read it. I know they're going to be adapting this as well soon, and I like the actors that they have in the cast. So some people I know say they don't like when they see a cast or there's a movie before they read the book, because then they only can envision the cast. But sometimes I like that. Sometimes I don't mind it, especially if the cast looks like the characters. And I think for sure the girl is giving Lily Reinhart, so I can see it. And I know all of these books are about women in STEM, and then we have a little bit of romance. And I'm excited to see what all the hype is about, because this is like an OG book talk book. The next book we have is Butterfly by Ashley Antoinette. If you're not new here, you know the grip that the Ethic series by Ashley Antoinette has had on me. In a grip, okay? I'm on Ethic 5. I haven't finished Ethic 5 because I'm trying to read my spooky reads. But Flint, Michigan is calling me back, okay? Now, Ethic, so if you don't know anything about the Ashley Antoinette books, the first book is A Moth to a Flame. Okay, then you have to read the ethics series, which I'm almost done. And then after the ethics series, it's the butterfly series. So this is the first book in butterfly. Can't say too much about it because I don't know. I haven't finished the last 2 books in ethic, but I got this though. I got this. I've been reading most of the books on my Kindle, but I told myself I'm going to get the first books of all the series so I can have them. And then the last book we have is The World We Make by N.K. Jemisin. I'm not going to lie, I messed up. I did not realize that this was the second book. Okay, this is the end of the duology, and the first book is actually The City We Became. This was another book that was on sale in the bargain section, and I remembered seeing someone rave about this duology and rave about N.K. Jemisin's books in general because it's a Black woman who writes these bomb fantasy books, and I need to know about it. But this was on sale for $6 as well, so I was like, oh, I might as well get it. And then when I got home, I realized this is not the first book. So at some point, I'm gonna buy the first book. But is it going to be in 2025? Look, I'm going to try to wait until 2026 to buy any new books. But I'm still excited about it. I didn't read the back of this because it may spoil something in the first book for me. But guys, buying books and reading books, you know what they say. It's 2 different hobbies. But I want to do better. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. I would like to get my physical TBR down some. Back a few months ago, I did a big shelf audit where I counted every book on my TBR and tried to reorganize my books and everything. And at that point, I think I had 71 books unread on my TBR. Child, every time I read 2 books off my physical TBR, I buy 5. So it's not making any sense. But we're going to do some kind of TBR takedown. If you have any ideas, please let me know. But thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and come back for another video. See you in the next one.